Easy E, how are we?
Shawnee, feeling good.
Good. I did my first 60k cycle there today in the heat, and I'm feeling it. And I was feeling hot, and I stupidly wore a long sleeve one of those marathon jerseys for it. But there is an alternative to doing that, and I'm kind of happy I wore the long sleeve alternative to what you saw yesterday Saturday afternoon in London. I'm not even too sure it was legal to talk about that or send that, but what happened? What was going on there? Yeah. And you gave no context to it. You just sent the picture like with no context. It was just ridiculous, by the way. But go ahead.
So, normally I would have felt like a bit of a creep for sending the videos and the content I sent you. But it was so public that nobody could have any complaints. In fact, it was encouraged to take photographs.
Well, what? I don't even know where to start with in terms of how was this encouraged, and just in case people haven't figured it out with the heat and everything else and the opposite of long sleeve, exactly what did you see yesterday?
So I went to London for a day trip. I had a meeting or stuff in the mornings. Lunchtime came, and like any good man in London, I said, "Where's the nearest Wetherspoons?" So we went to Wetherspoons for a cheap pint and some chicky nuggies, and I was looking out the window and I seen this gang of cyclists coming down, and I was like, oh Jesus, that's some group of cyclists coming to the lights. And I was with one of the girls working with me who's she was over with me, but it was our first kind of work experience, thing. And I was looking, I was like, that is a 70-year-old naked woman on a bike. And then I was like, no, maybe it's the marathon from last week. I'm losing it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of these tanned leotard jumpsuits. I don't know, but I'm not saying anything. And she happened to look out the door at the same time, and she went, Jesus Christ, that's a naked woman. I was like, thank God. Get your coat. But anyway, we were watching, and then she was obviously the leader of this pack, because afterwards, there's a big old arse coming past. There's another arse. Before I knew it, there was 50 naked arses outside the door, and I was like, I have to go look at this. So we left the table, our drinks at the table, walked to the side of the thing, and I mean, we looked outside the door.
Yeah.
About 700 bikes. Nudity.
700. Look.
It
What?
was huge. Now, I wish I was exaggerating. Now, maybe 700 is over.
It looked a lot in the video. Like, it looked.
But 500. Not more than a classroom, enough that makes you go, oh my God, that's a lot of naked people on bikes. Now, yeah, some were very good and wore skimpy tongues. some would wear a hat, maintaining modesty. But for the most part, all was on show. And it was about 80% males, 85% males. And I have to admit, I've seen more willies in 1 hour than I would like to admit. But so then we went back inside because we're like, right, that's enough of that. Finished our pints. We got on the tube. I forget which station we were at, but basically we were making our way back to Gatwick Airport. But we were way early, and it was 31 degrees or 30. I think it could have been 29 or 31 degrees. It was roasting. And I was like, listen, we're on the centre line, so we were at London Tower Bridge, and then it was like, right, Westminster is 3 stops down or whatever it was. Let's just go there. So we get off there, we walk out, we walk down this little side alley. Who catches up with us? Only the cycle again. I was like, oh, I don't believe it. And that's where we took the photos, because they all stopped. Now, this older man, I'd say between 60 plus. He walked over to me with the third leg swinging. And he's like, do you want to get a photo, mate? I was like, no, you're all right. But then there was an Asian lady beside me who was like, can I have a photo? So he was doing photo shoots with all the tourists. We're in around Westminster, full of tourists, and they're encouraging photographs. there was these 4 women. They were wearing, it was like, you know, the native Indian kind of headdress where you have the headdress, but it goes long, like it's usually a furry long front. But they were wearing that with kind of these tassels off it. Full nudity. And they were like, come on, guys, get photos with us and all that. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And I was like, surely you get arrested for exposing yourself like this. But anyway, I was like, this is mad.
Yeah.
Photos are okay. Do you know who this is going to creep out? Sean.
It did. I was like, what am I looking at? You sent it like 6, 7 o'clock, like right at the dinner table. I'm like, I couldn't even say to anyone else at the table. I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with this. But just as you were talking there, you've actually undersold it. There was over 1,000 people at this thing. So I'm actually looking up there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, World Naked Bike Ride 2023. This is a thing.
Yeah, and I was like, so your man with his Mickey swinging, waving at me, trying to speak to me. He was telling me the whole story. Like it was really weird. We're standing on this side of the road. He's having a Coke, and I'm just standing chatting to him. There's Mickey swinging between us, and I'm like, "So what's this all about?" And he's like, "Oh, we're trying to raise awareness, and you know, there's so many biking accidents and stuff."
Okay.
And in fairness, it was actually only when I seen the back of one of the naked girls it all started to make sense, because on the back of her it said, "Do you see me now?" And the whole idea was everybody was stopping to make way for the cyclist because she was naked. And everyone was trying to kill her when she's wearing high vis and helmet. So that was the whole principle of this naked cycle. Anyway, and had so much more and encouraging people to get out. But my God, what an event.
I just feel sorry for all the lads because, like I said, today's the first time I did 60 in a while. And after 40, I was like, probably should have brought the padded shorts in this one. Yeah. So, like, it must be sore.
Yeah, this guy. They were renting bikes, Sean. God help the next person to get that line bike. That's all I can think about. Oh, my God. Like it was as raw as it comes, 31 degrees on a rented saddle, full brawn nudity. And there was a lot of heavy people as well. And it was anyway, I'm sure that is far too much for the intro of any episode, but it was the best cycling event I've ever attended. And I met them one more time then later on for another, like 4 times I ended up immersed in this crowd of nudity by just getting off the tube 2 stops later to look at something touristy, and then there's 1,000 naked people would cycle past me. I think I was part of the event.
Yeah, I'm just reading it here. It's like it has this grand finale at Wellington Arch at the end around 5:30, but they're on golf most of the day. Yeah, that's like someone starting from 1 o'clock, different points there. Eric, I've no further questions. I'm going to let people ponder that and go straight to the intro for this week's episode of the Any Given Monday podcast. Let's go.
So I don't know how you can follow that intro, but it was definitely part of the recovery because I thought I was hallucinating. So I wasn't like, I really felt it this week now. My body is ready to train, no pain, but I had nothing. I think the sun last week absolutely took a part of my soul as well. Now I got a little bit of work, but I was just like, even though it was warm out, I was looking outside and I was like, I'm not going out there. It's too bloody warm. I'm staying in bed.
So the body was ready.
So I had no niggles. Like I was walking up and down the stairs on the Monday without, like, I've had worse leg days in the gym. You know, if I did a few lunges, I'd be like Bambi going into work. I was pounding up the stairs. The heart rate was rising quite quickly though. I don't think I'd fully recovered in terms of
you would have.
Yeah, but it was just a motivation. I was just sitting on the couch in the evening like an absolute slob. And one thing I've noticed this week, I am eating everything. Like I am feeling full and my body is like, eat more, eat more, eat more. So it's having its reaction to what I did to it. So I kind of just let myself do the thing for the week. I was like, listen, just do nothing, essentially, because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to force myself to do it. No, I did want to do something yesterday and today, but just life, it's London. And today I was back home with the folks who I hadn't seen in a few weeks. And I was like, you know what? for the first time, I agree with let's start on Monday, because the reason being I was supposed to do a 5K best effort, and I had no motivation to do a 5K best effort, and I was to do a test on the turbo trainer, a max effort test, and I had no motivation to do the max effort, because after that marathon, Sean,
I
had to take a long look at myself and say 2 weeks to Cork, yeah, that's fine. I can't do that with an Ironman. So I have got a training plan, and
you've got a training plan, and it's sorry,
it starts tomorrow.
Okay.
So I went into work. I got my warnings from Katie. She was like, I'm not watching you go through an Ironman with no training. You are too stubborn. I was like, okay. And for me, myself, no, you can't. You have to take this kind of serious. Like a marathon, I know it sounds ridiculous, but we know we're going to cross the line. But the Ironman's a different animal.
But just to put something on that, we've both done the marathon before, unprepared, and both suffered severe consequences. In a way, you were lucky. In a way, also, it's just because of the different stuff you've done since doing a marathon that's built you up. That you probably got away with one in Cork with the lack of training you did towards us. Whereas when we've done it before, we've both been an awful way. And I remember talking to you in like 2018, 2018, sorry, the year I did it the second time. And you said, no, I'm not doing it unless I'm ready. And in fairness, you went there the following year, 2019, you did a 3:35 marathon. But then you've done a lot of different, triathlon events and cycle events, literally up the country, like from one end to the other, that you have that kind of base condition that you don't, like, obviously you lose it, but it's quicker to come back and get yourself through something like a marathon. But you've never done an Ironman before. So this is brand new. Like, and you, without training, I'm sure you'll finish once you get through the swim, because it's just a constant thing of keeping going. But you will suffer and you will hate it.
Yeah, and it's a long time to be suffering. So, it's only going to be 4 hours, 15 minutes. This could be 15, 16 hours. Like if it's going bad, it could be a very long day of suffering. But it's uncharted water, so it's time to take it serious. And I'm surrounded by so many good athletes. One of them is Conor Tiernan. He works in the Air Corps, but he is phenomenal. His marathon, I think he finished 13th. I'll double check where he finished for maybe the show notes, but he finished 13th in last year's Dublin Marathon. He is a phenomenal athlete, like amazing. Like he cruises around at a 3:40 for his recovery run. Like he is an amazing athlete. So he's working with Nace Triathlon Club, and he's coaching them as well. So he is putting together my plans, and it was kind of the deal I made at home here was, right, I am actually going to go and talk to someone who knows exactly what they're talking about, because it'd be wrong for me to sit on here on this podcast and be like, oh, I just did an Ironman. No, I want to get proper help from someone who knows what they're doing, so that I can have the best day out that I can and be comfortable. And that starts tomorrow. Now, I've already let him down by not doing the 2 tests, but it starts tomorrow. He's put together a basic plan. Every 2 weeks I get my plan, and it will be done. And it's nice to just have that kick up the arse, to have the accountability, to have the consistency, to have someone looking over my shoulder. And it is someone who really knows what they're doing. They really, really know what they're doing. And, you put that little bit of faith. And it is true. Like you when you see something, you believe it. Like when I'm looking at his times and stuff, I know I'm not going to be doing a 2:15 or 2:20 marathon, but I am going to be the best version I can be on the day. And I think he'll get that out of me. And that's what we've done. So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. It's going to be 22 weeks of hard work. But yeah, it's time to start taking it very serious. And it is something I will say, like a half Ironman, I would still argue I'd show up and do tomorrow. I'd pig it out. I would. But an Ironman is, because, and I say that, like a half marathon, I don't blink at. Like,
but what's the goal in each one of these things? Like, I wouldn't blink at a half marathon tomorrow, but I'm not getting near my PB I got last year now. So like,
if I want to finish a half Ironman, I know I could pig that out. I'd survive. It wouldn't be fantastic. It wouldn't be pretty, but I would survive. I don't think I'd survive an Ironman, to be honest.
if I don't really give it my all, I honestly don't think I'm going to finish. I think it's going to be a waste of money and a waste of everyone's time. And you're traveling out, Katie's traveling out, families traveling out. So yeah, this is the point where the game is up. However, I say we did nothing, but the reason I was mechanically fine was the amount of yoga I've done over the last 3 months. Flexibility I haven't had in years. And that's given me a great foundation. Like fitness will come in 6, 7, 8 weeks. And it'll develop and keep developing. But what the stable base and core base I have in terms of the mechanics of the body, it's really improved. And it's one thing, we had Ozzy on before. Me and Ozzy have done a couple, and it's one thing he mentioned as well when he was talking about coming through the Dublin Marathon. The year he was just over the 320, and that's when I blew up through the 32k.
Yeah.
He was telling himself, I've done my stretches, I've done all this, the body is fine, just keep going. And it is knowing that you've done all that prehab, you've done all the stretches, you've done all the core work, you've built everything, not just the engine. You've put everything. You've put in the airbags. You've put in, the good wheels on it. Like it's everything in the car, and you've ticked all the boxes, and that in itself is a major mental battle to know you have all that in the bank. So yeah, it's going to be busy. I probably should have asked Conor before it. Spill the beans that he's going to be my hero, but I don't know. Maybe we might get him on one of the days talking about him, because he is a very, very, very impressive athlete. And just for the purpose of this, I had to go with someone who is up there as one of the best, and then hopefully be able to share some of my experience along the way for those who are itching to do one, and see what it takes.
Obviously, you're not going to go into like the absolute details on what you're doing each day of the week, but when you guys had an initial talk about it, was it just how did it come about? Like, what the 2 weeks is it going to be like? You had two things to do, and your 5K and your thing. Was that the base the next 2 weeks, or is it the end goal? Do you have an end goal for the IronMan and work backwards? Or what way have you worked so far? Is it the initial feeling out period for a couple of weeks, or what way did that conversation?
The conversation started with, Conor, I'm fucked. He said, you're not, and I said, no, I'm gonna sit down now, but I'm fucked. But it's so initially that's what them base tests are. It's to give him an indication of where you are right now.
Right.
But I'm able to tell him where I am right now. It's not perfection, but I'm able to say, listen, like realistically, I probably only have a 4:30 pace 5K in me at the minute.
Okay.
I haven't done much speed work. And I know I'm going to suffer through that. And that's a realistic. It could be a 4:20 if I really pushed, but I know it's around a 4:30 because of my intervals. I've been doing 4:10 intervals, and I've been really tired after interval number 6 of 8. So I reckon I have the 4, and they were at a 4-minute pace or a 3:55 or 3:45. So I reckon I have the 4:20, 4:30. And then I've done a lot of turbo, so I know what pace I can hold. So I got involved in a couple of races, and they're about 30 minutes long, and this is supposed to be a 20-minute all-out kind of pace. And I knew what kind of watts I was holding in that, so I was able to give them a gauge. So there is a foundation there. So for this 2 weeks, because I haven't done the test, it's all about perceived effort and heart rate zones, as opposed to actual metrics of timings and paces. And you know what? I'm actually kind of happier, because it's just feel it out. For the next 2 weeks, it's just feel it out. What feels hard, what feels easy, especially when it comes to the swimming. And it's I'm actually kind of happy. I didn't do the test, because now it's a case of, over the next 2 weeks, I am going to have to do the test, and then the marker is down. But I've got an introduction back into it. I've got the freedom to just feel what it's like and go hard or not so hard, or that was easy. So yeah, it's exciting.
It's great that you have the thinking taken out of it now. It's like, okay, it's like walking into work, and like the boss says, you're doing this today. It's like, oh, I guess I'm doing this, and that's your focus on. And now it's not like, do I do a swim? Do I do a cycle? Do I run? It's like, whoever he sends you your program is like, okay, he wants you to do this. In 2 weeks, we're gonna intervene. We're gonna have a little talk about how this is going, and then the next 2 weeks going from there and phase it out that way. It's great that now it's like, do I do more time to swim, cycle, run? It's like, you don't even have to think about that. You just have to do. You're the car, the machine that he's putting all the changing the tires and everything in it, and whatever way cars work, I don't know. But that's what he's doing. Like, to make sure you get to that starting line, you just got to keep going and get yourself off the couch.
It's really, look, and that's why we said it from when we tried to do the online training, and we had really, really cheap classes, and people would all sign up and no one would ever do because they hadn't got enough skin in the game. And for me, parting ways with money to someone for their expertise, they're now my boss. I've paid for the consultation. You tell me to do it, I have to do it. Otherwise, I'm wasting his time. And then I always have this feeling of I don't want to let them down. Even though I've paid for it, I don't want to let them down because they've set an expectation and I'm going for it. And so for me, it's on the fridge. It's part of the calendar. So if Katie looks at it, she knows on Tuesday, I'm not going near Eric. He has a swim in the morning and he also has a cycle that night. So forget about asking him to sit here and play. Like, not that she will, but I have accountability then because Katie would be like, you're going swimming in the morning, pack your bag. Have you got your bag packed? And
you're treating that as an appointment now.
Exactly. I have a date with the swimming pool at 6 a.m. And I'm bad at it, but I have to treat it like it's a working day. I have to treat it like I can't be late for work. And around that routine then comes food prep because everything else is so rigid in terms of the plan is there, even the rest days. And I'm like, should I be having a rest day? Well, he told me to.
I feel good about that now.
So, and it's nice just to see on the, I think it's in the second week on the Wednesday, there's just a bit of foam rolling for 20 minutes. I'm like, ooh, hump day, nice. So, like it's really realistic, and it's I can see where it's pushing me as well. And like I think on the first Sunday or second Sunday there's a 3-hour cycle there. Like it's like I'm going around with you guys doing 40 minutes and like, oh, I'm great. But now it's like, no, get out there for 3 hours.
Well, in 3 weeks' time, you've got a good 10-11-hour cycle ahead of you.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's just getting that confidence of getting that time in the saddle and getting comfortable. Now, it's lucky I'm going into a back-to-back with Lorcan Fisher, so I'm sure what is there on the paper is going to be the minimum I'm going to be doing because Lorcan's going to be like, sure, come on, another 40K. So but no harm to be pushed a little bit. There's no harm because I'm not as unfit as I think I am.
Unless the next day he's got a big hard session for you, and all of a sudden Lorca's like, the hard sessions today, and you're like, do I have that accountability right beside me to keep pushing, or the next day do you flip, or what way do you do it?
In fairness, he's not like that. He's
okay.
He's very encouraging, and if he knows I'm doing something that's prescribed, he can join in with it, and he can do his addition to it. Gotcha. So if it's a little bit too easy for him, what we tend to do is, particularly on cycles, I will go to what's a comfortable or just above comfortable for me, getting trending to uncomfortable, but I'll cycle behind him for the entire thing. So I'm working hard, he's working harder.
Because he's
in front, and he's getting the workout. And even though I'm drafting the entire way, I'm getting a workout. So and it's very, very good like that. So even if we're going for a swim, he's going to the 1 kilometer buoy, I'm going to the 500 meter buoy. I'll swim back. I've done a K, he's done 2K. So but we're going with the same purpose. So, and if I know I'm going swimming and I'm doing this, then he's going to go, yeah, great. Here's where we're going. Get in there. You're doing great. And he's fantastic at that. But
brilliant.
And it's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, that's what we're looking at, but I'm really excited and I'm scared at the same time. Like it is, we've done a lot of talking. A lot of talking. Here's 22 weeks.
It's 22 weeks, and I experienced this. I think I can't remember if I said on the podcast or I said it in person with the Backyard Ultra. I felt very nervous when everything was set up and stuff around me. And you mentioned the start of this not the start of this podcast, after the intro of the craziness that was the start of this podcast. You're talking about like, I'm going over and Katie's going over and your family coming over and you've 22 weeks and you've signed up. And not that it's a bad thing. Are you starting to feel the nerves? Are you starting to feel pressure? Are you like, this is because you're like, there's no playtime now or something like that to that effect? Are you starting like, did something happen in Cork? You're like, fuck. You feel like you should have been further down the road? Do you feel like you're right where you need to be?
Do you know what's weird? Like I am the path of least resistance. Like, I am literally like, I knew I was going to suffer in Cork, and I didn't care. And I knew that going into the train, and I was like, I'm so busy, and Cork's just going to be shit anyway. And I always said, look, it's a benchmark for the summer. The benchmark is there now. And that, as you said, the playtime is over. There's no flexibility anymore. I'm not good enough to even traipse around a flat marathon. I need to get my head into gear. Like, I need to just get training. But like, there's motivational checkpoints. Like, we've Rachel's half Ironman World Championships in Finland. I am aiming for August, for when she's here in this country. I want to go on a training cycle with a world triathlete. Does that make sense?
Absolutely not, because she does 350 pace for a half marathon running. So I can only imagine what the cycle is.
But
I know you're messing. Money.
If I can, no, I didn't say I was going running with her.
Yeah, I know. But I can't put into cycle how fast she's probably going.
No, she's good, but like that, if I can sit on her wheel for even 20 minutes of that cycle, I am training with people who are at the peak. They're doing, and
that's always great.
I can't do that if I don't take myself serious. So that's mid-August. So I have, 2 months nearly to get to a level where I can at least show up to a training cycle and go, not be like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm holding you back, you should be doing more. I want to at least arrive and say, I'm going to hang on to your coattails as long as I can, and after that, I'll see you at the house. And that's something for me. That's one of the milestones, is to get out with Brandon and Rachel and be like, right, do your worst. And they're like, okay,
let's go.
And just hang on and just see how we go. And then after that, then we're into September, half marathon in Dublin. Let's stick the number 130 on it. And let's aim for these kind of targets, because that's a good milestone for the mentality. That's on my birthday. So if I can do a 130 marathon on my birthday, now we're taking ourselves.
130 half.
Yeah.
Oh, you booked that. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so the half marathon is on my birthday, so I had to treat myself.
I was just looking there at Rachel's last, it wasn't even a race, just something on Swift, knocked off. But it was like 35 kilometers average speed over 2 hours and 20 minutes. To me, that's insane. Good luck keeping up with that.
It's absolutely nuts. But like I said, if I can hang on to them coattails for 40,
aim for that.
Just hold on, and then if they drift off, say, see you in an hour.
Yeah,
because I have got the benefit from being with that level, and that's what's about. You don't want to let them down because it's their training session. These are all the milestones, and then the last milestone after that half marathon, then 2 weeks later, we're into Santorini. And I've booked really nice accommodation. There's no swinging ropes out of the pool, but I have the nicest little pool, and I'm going to rent a bike, and I'm going to get some warm weather training in. But I'm visualizing myself on the last night lying down by that pool and having a nice photograph of me very much in the physique of someone who was Ironman ready. And that's the mental picture on the wall. So the for me, it's a printout of the hotel, because now I'm visualizing that. And then, because I'm not even visualizing Portugal at the minute, it's not in the picture. That's the victory lap, to be honest. That's show up, don't make a bollocks of putting your bike back together.
Yeah,
and go and do it. But the wetsuits, everything is coming with me to Santorini. And I'll rent a bike over there rather than bring my own. Just for the ease, and I don't really want to take it apart and put it back together twice in 2 weeks, because God knows what I'll do. But they're all the little milestones, and they're accountability milestones for it as well. So and again, it all comes down, but this is how I do it. I just don't want to let people down. I don't want to hold people back. Like, every training session with Lorcan, I'm like, I'm really sorry, I don't want to hold you back. I'm fed up saying that. I want to go hard at it for 4 weeks and then go, what are we doing today? And then hopefully start pushing him. I don't think it'll ever happen. But
it's a goal to aim for, and all goals should feel like they're just a little out of reach, which makes you keep going and going towards them.
Yeah, like, I've taken my life into my own hands, flirting with taking on Lorcan Fisher, but it's something that I just need to try and get to. And And that to me is a big milestone. The day he turns around and goes, "Oh, we're on, are we?" And then it's like, "Yeah, we are." And
Let's go.
That's that competitive edge when you're training with great people, being trained by great people, with targets to get to all these people. Like I'm excited, nervous. I equally couldn't do anything this week, and that's look, hold my hands up. That's okay. There wasn't that I wasn't gonna change the world this week, to be honest. But next week it has to change, and it is going to change, and the plan is already in place. So we'll see how we go.
Brilliant. You're all set now. You're all set. 22 weeks, you said?
22-ish. Yeah, I'll have to do the maths on it, but it was how far to Dublin Marathon? You knew this.
But I wish I knew this. 24. Is it 24? I don't think it's inside 100 days. 150 days was a post came out a little over a week ago. So probably 140. Yeah, 140 divided by 7, 20. No, that's not right. Can't be 20 weeks left. I don't know.
Anyway, we have time. Not a lot of time, but we have time. But again, I'm not putting a time on the victory lap.
No.
It's gonna decide itself. It's gonna decide what paces I can hold, how quick I can run off the bike, the powers I can hold on similar courses. And then develop the race plan, and then a week out, or 2 weeks out, then we know. So I'm going to train to my best ability. I'm not going to go, we're just going for 15 hours for a cruise. I'm going for the quickest time I can do.
Yeah,
that is the training plan. I just don't know what that time is, and that will be determined a week or 3 weeks before. Actually, Lost Sheep I
was going to say, you mentioned, that'll be the...
like I didn't mention it because it's scaring the crap out of me to think about it, same as the Ironman. Like it is probably one of the hardest half Ironmans you can do.
When is that?
That is September.
Before or after your half?
I think it's before. I need to double check the dates. So I should be piping fit, ready to go. I really should have looked up them dates before I go. I haven't even got my phone nearby to even bluff it while we're talking. But Sean,
I'm afraid Law of Sheep. God knows what's going to come up when I put this in. Better put in triathlon at the end of that.
Yeah, definitely put in triathlon after it, given your search history. So
middle of this is it says 22nd of March.
Anyway, it's in September. So
2nd of September. Sold out already.
Second. Yeah, 2nd. So like I'll have
Lost Sheep.
Rachel will have completed her worlds, and then I'll be going into Lost Sheep myself with all the motivation in the world. So and it's a tough one, and that's 6 weeks out. So after I come through that, then we can probably start to put a time on it.
Right.
Because that has the same elevation in half as what's over the full in Portugal. So it's a small lap, but it's a hard lap. The run isn't easy either. Like it is as tough as they come as a prep race, and I'll have trained coming into that as well. So, and then after that, then it's, can I do the half marathon in the time I suggested? But again, just to have confidence, just to be like, I can clip along, and then mentally be like, I can do an hour and a half. So surely I can slow that down off the bike and just shuffle, because as Lorcan even said, it's not a run, it's a shuffle. When you get off 180k, you're not running, you're shuffling. But it's a long shuffle.
It's a very long shuffle.
So yeah, it's just all about building that mental strength to know I can go to a certain level. So by slowing it down, heart rate should be lower. We should be able to just complete it comfortable. You can never be comfortable, but
no, of course not.
To complete it in a stage where I can laugh at the fact if something starts to shut down, like if my legs start to give up, but I don't feel like I'm going to die, which has happened in previous marathons where I just laugh and just keep going. But it's just something we need to look at. But that is the plan. Look, everyone's going to see from Strava and whatnot how it goes. But yeah, it's interesting. It's scary. It's exciting. It's everything. But apart from that, the element of talking the talk has to stop. I just have to suffer in silence now and just get through it. And give updates as we go. But yeah, So we'll see how it goes, Johnny. So that's the update for the next 2 weeks, and we'll
Unreal.
It's exciting. And then we have
Exciting.
Ring of Kerry. Like there's 176 kilometers of a good training session there.
The accommodation we booked is a good 5K out, and we'll be cycling down the start line. So 186. You're welcome. You'll get your 180 plus K in that day, son.
Yeah. So look, and it's time in the saddle, and that is a really important thing. It's just time spinning the legs over, and a few hills to climb, and a few ice creams on the way around. So, but that's a good milestone in 2 weeks' time. It's a good. It is no 3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. We got 3.
So
10th day. 3 weeks.
So it's actually good for me to be forced onto the bike 2-3 times in a week in the build up to that. Because I can't be talking about doing an Ironman and then be the one in the group that's absolutely struggling.
If you're the one absolutely struggling and don't finish that, I will call you out on the podcast. So there's a bit of extra pressure for you. But I'm sure you'll be grand, because the Ring of Kerry it's while it is the same distance you're going to be doing, it's a completely different animal in terms of atmosphere, setup, and all that. You don't even have a chip time doing that. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. You just don't have the Ring of Kerry. It is, like you say, just time in the saddle there. So like when you do that, you should be able to go, okay, Sunday, whatever the plan set out for you, you should still be able to do, because you'd have taken your time going through that and just got a time to saddle that. You shouldn't feel like, oh, I need another week recovery, which takes another week away from your end goal of that Ironman.
Yeah, and that's it. And like you did last year, the anticipation will be complete. Ring of Kerry next morning, how we fix for a long run.
Yeah,
you know, like it's all about. And that that's one thing we did talk about. Sorry, you asked me what we kind of talked about, and one of the bits and pieces he said was, "Don't be a hero." There, I'm probably paraphrasing, but essentially, don't be a hero. Like, there's no point going out and bursting myself just because he has said do 2 hours. Like, if I know, and I've been around enough to know when it's right and when it's not. And the aim of this game is to be able to train tomorrow. Yeah. So you don't want to do something so hard that you can't train tomorrow, because this is the biggest consistency game I'm going to play over the next 20 plus weeks. It's all about being fit enough and able enough to get that next session in, and to balance that effort the day before so that session can happen. And this is where it's really important. If you feel the niggle, don't push through, because it's more important to be in the pool at 6 a.m. And that niggle might heal itself with a bit of stretching that night. And then when you get back Thursday, the niggle is gone, and now all of a sudden you're still keeping that engine ticking over. So, but yeah, it's exciting. It is, and it was reassuring to hear that from someone who is so talented, so athletic, so like a brilliant athlete, to be just like the aim of and it's something we've said on this podcast. It's all about being able to train tomorrow. And it was nice to have someone say it to me. I was like, do you know what? We're on to something. I get this. For once, I understand.
Yeah, it's those that are at that level that have like the most common sense. Like, it's like you walk into a gym and the guy that's not experienced just wants the younger guy wants to like just deadlift and squat the world, and you see the quarter squat thinking they're doing full depth and stuff in squats, whereas the proper big jack guy that walks in, you see him doing the proper warm up, taking his time, the squats, the full depth, the breathing, the technique, and everything like that. It's like, no, this is a longevity game here, like, and that's exactly what you're dealing with. So best of luck in the training for the next 22 weeks. I'm sure we'll be keeping updating that with that, and it's deadly. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking, but it is exciting.
That's good. I'm always saying that. Nerves is good. Nerves is always good. If you're nervous this stage, I'll be worried for you. If you're like, if this is going to be grand, I'd be incredibly worried for you, because you think you've got time, but you don't have much time to mess around at this stage. And like you talked about earlier with the yoga and all the rest, it's like it's keeping that body in check now, because missing a week here and there for 22 weeks won't be the biggest deal in the world. But do something silly and you're missing 3, 4, 5 weeks. That could be the difference between us all going to Portugal to see you and all going to Portugal. What are we going to do for 2 days over here?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a bad thing to go drinking for 2 days. But
it would be, because the following week I'm doing a Dublin Marathon, so I won't be drinking over there. Yeah. So I better be watching you.
That's the other thing. I still have to do a Dublin Marathon a week after doing it.
Let's worry about that after you do the Ironman. You've got a lot of things to do between now and Portugal before worrying about that. You've also got to get a camper license, and we'll talk about why in the next episode of the podcast.
Yeah, the camper license. I'm under pressure for that, but that's in progress. That is
you put me under severe pressure because on that one, but we'll leave a little cliffhanger on that one. Use that for the intro for next week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Anything else to add before we wrap this one up, Blake?
That's all for me. Don't cycle in the nude.
That sounds like someone talking with someone with experience. Did you join in?
No, I didn't. No, I couldn't rent a bike.
And on that bombshell, that is it for myself and Eric. Take care.
Bye.